Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back for another live edition of Kevin's Biblical Discussions. Thank you, everyone, for joining and tuning in. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you do enjoy the channel and the content that I'm putting out there. Um, Appreciate all the support I can get. I'd like to upgrade my lighting sometime soon. Maybe get a nice green screen, update my studio. I got a bookshelf over there. I should probably move. I got a lot of books and stuff. It'd be nice, maybe make the room look nicer. And yeah, so I'm continuing in Exodus. I want to go through the whole Bible, starting in Genesis, all the way to the end. I don't know how long that's going to take me. I don't know. I feel a little short on energy today, guys. So I'm probably not going to be as lively as I was last week with the last one I did. But nonetheless, I'm here. Let's do it, And so before we get into this, I'm going to say a prayer. So if you would please join me in prayer, I'd appreciate that. Heavenly Father, we come before you, Lord, in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. I pray for understanding, Lord, of your word. I pray that I would not misunderstand it. And Lord, I just pray that the things we read, that we'd not only understand, but that we'd also apply it to our lives. I pray that clarity would be had on your word, Lord. And I pray that confusion would be done away with, be destroyed by your word, Lord. That you would help us to understand what you have said. And that you would just continue to grow your children up in faith, Lord. And draw us closer to you, Father God. I thank you for what you have said. I thank you for what you have done for us. I thank you for sending Jesus to the cross. I thank you for my salvation, Lord. I pray for the salvation of a lot of loved ones and friends I have, Lord, that have not put their trust in you, Lord, that do not have a saving knowledge of you and your Son. And so I just pray that that could become a reality for them, Lord, for my sisters and my uncles and their children. And I just pray that this would be a good stream, Lord, that it would be edifying, and that your will would be done and accomplished today through this. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Amen. So last time we left off Exodus 12. So today I'm going to be picking up with Exodus 13. So to recap, last stream, God was sending all these different plagues on Egypt, and all the plagues were an attack on the different false gods that the Egyptians worshipped. It was an attack against their false deities and their priests. And so God sent the plague of the death of the firstborn throughout all the land of Egypt. And anyone that had blood on the doorpost did not suffer that plague. The baby wouldn't die, the firstborn. And so that was the first Passover. And that's where we left off. So now we're going to continue in chapter 13. All right. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Sanctify unto me all the firstborn, whatsoever openeth the womb among the children of Israel, both of man and beast, it is mine. So sanctify means to set apart. And Moses said unto the people, Remember this day in which ye came out from Egypt, out of the house of bondage, for by strength of hand the Lord brought you out from this place. There shall no leavened bread be eaten. Right? So the unleavened bread was part of the Passover. And that's why the Jews, every generation after that, always had unleavened bread on the Passover, because this is the very first Passover. This day came ye out in the month Abib. And it shall be when the Lord shall bring thee into the land of the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, which he swore unto thy fathers to give thee, a land flowing with milk and honey, that thou shalt keep this service in this month. So right now, what we now know as Israel was inhabited by these different people, the the Canaanites and the Hittites, Amorites, Hivites, and Jebusites. And these were all wicked people. And so we're going to see how the Lord deals with these people by using the Israelites. It's a land that's flowing with milk and honey. And then God commands them that you shall keep this service in this month. So the month Abib is when they are commanded every year to celebrate this Passover. 7 days thou shalt eat unleavened bread, and in the seventh day shall be a feast to the Lord. Unleavened bread shall be eaten 7 days, and there shall no leavened bread be seen with thee, neither shall there be leaven seen with thee in all thy quarters. So your dwelling places, your houses. And thou shalt show thy son in that day, saying, because of that which the Lord did unto me when I came forth out of Egypt, and it shall be for a sign unto thee upon thy hand, for a memorial between thine eyes, that the Lord's law may be in thy mouth. For with a strong hand hath the Lord brought thee out of Egypt. Thou shalt therefore keep his ordinances and the seasons from year to year. Season from year to year. And it shall be when the Lord shall bring thee into the land of the Canaanites, as he swore unto thee and to thy fathers, and shall give it thee, that thou shalt set apart unto the Lord all that openeth the matrix. I'm not sure what that is. And every firstling that comes of a beast which thou hast, the male shall be the Lord. So let me look up this word matrix real quick, because I'm not entirely sure what that is referencing there. Matrix. Rehem. A womb. Oh, belly of a womb, or an animal, or a woman. The place where your fetus is developed. Okay, so it means womb. Let me remember that. Such an odd thing for the King James translators to put there. Okay. So that opens the womb, and every firstling that comes of a beast which thou hast, the males shall be the Lord's. Okay. So that's going back to what he's already said. You know, the firstborn are set apart. They belong to me, of the people and the animals. And every firstling of an ass that thou redeem with a lamb, and if thou wilt not redeem it, then thou shalt break his neck, and all the firstborn of man among thy children shalt thou redeem. So all the firstborn men shall be redeemed, but if you fail to do it for one of the animals, you have to kill the animal. Okay. And it shall be with thy son, asketh thee in time to come, saying, what is this? That thou shalt say unto him, by strength of hand the Lord brought us out from Egypt, from the house of bondage. Yeah, so Egypt's always a type of the world. They were in bondage to Pharaoh, which Pharaoh was a type of the devil. Right, so God rescues you from the bondage of the devil. So now you belong to him. You're his servant, or his slave, if you will. And it came to pass, when Pharaoh would hardly let us go, that the Lord slew all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both the firstborn of man and the firstborn of beast. Therefore I sacrifice to the Lord all that openeth the womb, being males, but all the firstborn of my children I redeem. And it shall be for a token upon thine hand, and for the frontlets between thine eyes, for the strength of the Lord, for the strength of the hand of the Lord brought us out of Egypt. And it came to pass, when Pharaoh had let the people go, that God led them not the way of the land of the Philistines, although that was near. For God said, lest peradventure the people repent, and they see war, and they return to Egypt. But God led the people about through the way of the wilderness of the Red Sea. And the children of Israel went up harnessed out of the land of Egypt. And Moses took the bones of Joseph with him, for he had straightway sworn the children of Israel, saying, God will surely visit you, and ye shall carry up my bones away henceforth, or hence with you. And they took their journey from Succoth, and encamped in Ethim at the edge of the wilderness. And the Lord went before them by day in a pillar of a cloud. So there was a literal cloud there. There was the Lord was showing them He is with them by this cloud to lead them the way, and by night a pillar of fire. So there's a literal pillar of fire that followed them at nighttime to give them light to go by day and night. He took not away the pillar of the cloud by day, nor the pillar of fire by night before the people. Again, so this is a picture of Old Testament eternal security, how the Lord never left His people. He was always with them day through night, over and over. Oh, what's up, Kelvy and Richard and Ben? What's up? What's up? Dan, good to see you, buddy. Yeah. Yep. There's different versions of eternal security. For sure. Yeah, Richard, I don't know if you watched the video me and Graham did. I put it out last night, debunking that supposed documentary that's supposedly debunks eternal security. Go check that out. Yeah. All right. Yeah, everyone, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to smash the like button for me, will you? Help me out. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel that they turn and encamp before, man, that's hard to say. Pihahureth. Oh, man. Between Migdal and the sea, over against Belzephon, before it shall ye encamp by the sea. For Pharaoh will save the children of Israel. They that are entangled in the land, the wilderness, have shut them in. And I will harden Pharaoh's heart. So God hardens his heart again. That he shall follow after them. And I will be honored upon Pharaoh and upon all his hosts, that the Egyptians may know that I am the Lord. And they did so. And it was told of the king of Egypt, the Pharaoh, that the people fled, and the heart of the Pharaoh and of his servants was turned against the people. And they said, Why have we done this? What that we have let Israel go from serving us? Yeah, because that's all. They don't care about people. It was all about what they could benefit. That's narcissistic behavior. The only reason why Pharaoh wanted the Hebrews to stick around is because he could force them to do all the hard labor for him, so that him and his people didn't have to do it. What do you call that? Is that chattel slavery? No wages or anything. Just do what I say, or you're going to get whipped and killed or whatever. No wages or anything. That's disgusting. And it's against their will, which is the worst part. And he made ready his chariot and took his people with him. And he took 600 chosen chariots and all the chariots of Egypt and captains over every one of them. And the Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and he pursued after the children of Israel. And the children of Israel went out with a high hand. But the Egyptians pursued after them. All the horses, and the chariots of Pharaoh, and his horsemen, and his army, and overtook them encamping by the sea, beside Pahiroth, before Belzephon. And when Pharaoh drew nigh, the children of Israel lifted up their eyes, and behold, the Egyptians marched after them, and they were sore afraid. And the children of Israel cried out unto the Lord. And they said unto Moses, Because there were no graves in Egypt, thou hast taken us away to die in the wilderness? Wherefore hast thou dealt thus with us, to carry us forth out of Egypt? It is not this the world that we did tell thee in Egypt, saying, Let us alone, that we may serve the Egyptians. For it had been better for us to serve the Egyptians than that we should die in the wilderness. So here we go. The Israelites are displaying a lack of faith. Oh, you took us out here just to die in the wilderness. They're going to kill us. It was better if we just stayed back in Egypt with the ball and chain and just being forced to do manual labor and whatnot. It's better off. Where's your faith? And this is the thing that's mind-boggling. This shows you how stupid we are as people, not just the Israelites of old. They had witnessed all the plagues that God sent upon all of Egypt, but it didn't affect them. They witnessed every single plague, showing them that God was with them. They had his favor. And here they are out in the wilderness, already starting a lack of faith. Oh, it would have been better if we stayed. You brought us out here just to die. Where's your faith? God went through all that trouble to bring you out of Egypt. Do you think now he's just going to leave you in the wilderness? No, that's not a loving father that would do that. And Moses said unto the people, fear ye not, stand still, and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will show to you today. For the Egyptians whom you have seen today, ye shall see them again no more forever. Right, because the ones that are going to pursue them are going to die. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. Now, I want to suggest to you that that's true for us today, too. That's why we're not to rend evil for evil or repay evil for evil, turn the other cheek, all that stuff. Because the Lord fights our battles for us. We're not commanded in the New Testament to, take up our own arms if someone's wronged us and stuff. At the same time, we're also not commanded to be a punching bag. We have the right to defend ourselves. But there's certain things where it's just, I leave it in the Lord's hands. He's going to take care of it. There's certain things that we can't resolve. It's just God has to step in, and you just have to walk by faith. Hello, Brian. Hey. Yahoo. Oh, I haven't seen you in a while. What's going on, man? Have you repented of your what do you call it? Hebrew root Black Hebrew Israelite religion or whatever? I hope you just put your trust in Jesus Christ and him alone. He brings them out of bondage of Egypt to give them bondage of the law, right? No. He brought them out of the land of Egypt to serve him, right? And isn't it because of their hard hearts that God gives them the law? The whole point, Yahoo, of why God gave the law to begin with was just to show people that they are sinners. God knew full well that mankind is incapable of keeping his law. So he never gave the law for the intent of the law to save someone, because the law can't save. All it does is condemn. It shows them that they're condemned. It shows them that they are sinful. But unfortunately, a lot of them didn't understand that because they were self-righteous and they had deceived themselves into thinking they can keep it. Just like the Pharisees. So the law of Moses wasn't enough for them, even though they couldn't keep it. They had to add their own commandments and traditions with the Talmud and their commandments of men. So they had a misunderstanding of the law just like you do. You can't keep the law. No one's ever kept the law. The only person that's ever kept the law is Jesus Christ. Keep an open mind as I read through the Torah. Well, yeah, I try not to eisegete the text. I try to do inductive studies. I try to let the Bible speak for itself. And but I don't discard the New Testament either, because the New Testament gives further revelation that the Old Testament did not. And the book of James tells us that no man keeps the law, because if you offended in one point, then you're guilty of the whole law. So every one of us is a lawbreaker. There's no such thing as a law keeper. And that's why Christ had to remove the middle wall of I have a tongue twister, but God had to remove the law out of the way. Okay, he took it out of the way. So we're not under this law in the new covenant anyhow. And the Lord said to Moses, wherefore criest thou to me? Speak unto the children of Israel that they go forward. But lift thou up thy rod, and stretch out thine hand over the sea, and divide it. And the children of Israel shall go on dry ground through the midst of the sea. So that's a miracle. So they're going to walk through the sea, miles. For I can remember, it was like a 10-mile journey from the one side of the Red Sea to the other. So for like a 10-mile stretch, God split the sea open in two so that they could walk through on dry ground, and then on either side of them was just this huge walls of water. That's amazing. Yo, what's up, Alec? Good to see you, man. And I, behold, I will harden the hearts of the Egyptians, plural, so not just Pharaoh anymore, the Egyptians, so those that are pursuing, and they shall follow them. And I will get me honor upon Pharaoh and upon all of his hosts, upon his chariots and upon his horsemen. And the Egyptians shall know that I am the Lord, when I have gotten me honor upon Pharaoh, upon his chariots, and upon his horsemen. And the angel of God, which went before the camp of Israel, removed and went behind them. And the pillar of the cloud went from before their face and stood behind them. And it came between the camp of the Egyptians and the camp of Israel. And it was a cloud and darkness, but it gave light by night, so that the one came not near to the other at the night. And Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the Lord caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind. All that night it made the sea dry land, and the waters were divided. And the children of Israel went into the midst of the sea upon dry ground, and the waters were a wall unto them on their right hand and on the left. And the Egyptians pursued and went in after them. See, now this is so stupid. You know you're not following the God of the Hebrews, and you're seeing that this is a miracle that the God of the Hebrews is performing. Why on earth do you think he would allow you to cross with them? You see how a proud heart and just wickedness leads to just illogical decisions and stupidity. Because that's really the only place you have to go. If you're rejecting God, you're rejecting logic, you're rejecting reason, you're rejecting love, you're rejecting morals, and just common sense. So you have to be really stupid to reject God. And they're showing how stupid they are. And it came to pass that in the morning watch the Lord looked unto the host of the Egyptians through the pillar of fire and the cloud, and troubled the host of the Egyptians, and took off their chariot wheels, and drove them heavily, so that the Egyptians said, Let us flee from the face of Israel, for the Lord fighteth for them against the Egyptians. Yeah, no crap, idiots. He's been doing that the whole time. Back when they were in your own country, God was sending out plagues on you fools. People are stupid. These people deserve to perish for their stupidity. How can you be this dumb? I pick on atheists today that they're dumb, but my goodness, these Egyptians give them a run for their money, I tell you. And the Lord said unto Moses, Stretch out thy hand over the sea, that the waters may come again upon the Egyptians, upon their chariots, and upon their horsemen. And Moses stretched forth his hand over the sea, and the sea returned to its strength when the morning appeared, and the Egyptians fled against it. And the Lord overthrew the Egyptians in the midst of the sea. And the waters returned and covered the chariots and the horsemen and all the host of Pharaoh that came into the sea after them. There remained not such much as one of them. So they all drowned. The waters. See, now I don't know if it's possible that the force of the waters coming back together could have killed some of them, just the force of it alone. And then obviously the rest of them would have drowned. But it's pretty foolish to try to follow behind the Hebrews through this path in the Red Sea that God made for them. See, don't be stupid, people. But the children of Israel walked upon dry land in the midst of the sea, and the waters were a wall unto them on their right and their left. Thus the Lord saved Israel that day out of the hand of the Egyptians, and Israel saw the Egyptians dead upon the seashore. And Israel saw that great work which the Lord did upon the Egyptians, and the people feared the Lord, and believed the Lord and his servant Moses. Now remember, the Hebrews were being stupid and foolish too, because back up at the top, oh, Moses, you've led us out of Egypt so that now we can just die in the wilderness. Where's your faith? Where God had shown himself to you by demonstrating all those plagues on the false gods. Obviously, he wasn't going to let something happen to you. As soon as you get out of Egypt, oh, we were better off just staying back in Egypt as slaves, the old ball and chain. And this is a common thing you're going to see now, that how even the Israelites, when God does so many things before their eyes, miracle after miracle, miraculous things, that the lack of faith that these people had. Right, and I'm not saying I'm any better, right? Because how many times does God come through for us in our daily lives? And we're, man, it would have been better off if I was over here or did that, because we show lack of faith sometimes too. But these people have seen the Lord do miraculous things that we don't see today. We don't see Red Sea crossings, the water splitting apart today. We don't see manna coming down from heaven today. Any of that, like wild miracles. These people saw it and still had lack of faith. Yeah. Yeah, that's right, Stephanie. That's what the Judaizers do. They want to put you under a yoke of bondage that they themselves could never keep. They all do it. Then sang Moses and the children of Israel this song unto the Lord, and spake, saying, I will sing unto the Lord, for he hath triumphed gloriously. The horse and his rider he has thrown in the sea. The Lord is my strength and my song. He is become my salvation. He is my God, and I will prepare him an habitation, my father's God, and I will exalt him. The Lord is a man of war. The Lord is his name. Pharaoh's chariots and his host hath he cast into the sea. His chosen captains are also drowned in the Red Sea. The depths have covered them. They sank to the bottom as a stone. And and that's another plausible theory why all of them drowned. Was it was probably too hard to swim with all the armor they had on. Right? His soldiers probably had Egyptian armor. They probably had like helmets and the greaves. So it's another reason why they probably all drowned. So the force from the water just closing in on them, smacking them, would have flipped them. They would have been all dazed and dizzied, spinning around, and they would just sink, all that heavy armor. Thy right hand, O Lord, is become glorious in power. Thy right hand, O Lord, hath dashed in pieces the enemy. And in the greatness of thine excellency, thou hast overthrown them that rose up against thee. Thou sendest forth thy wrath, which consumed them as stubble. And with the blast of thy nostrils the waters were gathered together. The floods stood upright as an heap, and the depths were congealed in the heart of the sea. The enemy said, I will pursue, I will overtake, I will divide the spoil. My lust shall be satisfied upon them. I will draw my sword, my hand shall destroy them. Thou didst blow with thy wind, the sea covered them, they sank as lead in the mighty waters. Who is like unto thee, O Lord, among the gods? False gods. Who is like thee, glorious in holiness, fearful in praising, doing wonders? Thou stretch out thy right hand, the earth swallowed them. Thou in the mercy hast led forth the people, which thou hast redeemed. Thou hast guided them in thy strength unto the holy habitation. The people shall hear and be afraid. Sorrow shall take hold on the inhabitants of Palestina. Then the dukes of Edom shall be amazed. The mighty men of Moab, trembling, shall take hold upon them. All the inhabitants of Canaan shall melt away. Fear and dread shall fall upon them. By the greatness of thine arm shall be as still as a stone. till thy people pass over, O Lord, till the people pass over, which thou hast purchased. See, now I think that you could take that as a prophecy, because Christ hasn't gone to the cross yet. So how has he purchased these people? How has God purchased them? Well, I think that would be signifying to what's to come. There's a price that's going to be paid. Thou shalt bring them and plant them in the mountain of thy inheritance, in the place, O Lord, which thou hast made for thee to dwell in the sanctuary, O Lord, which thy hands have established. The Lord shall reign forever and ever. For the horse of Pharaoh went in with his chariots and with his horsemen to the sea, and the Lord brought again the waters of the sea upon them. But the children of Israel went on dry land in the midst of the sea. And Miriam the prophetess, the sister of Aaron, took a timbrel in her hand, and all the women went out after with the timbrels and with dances. So they were, it's an instrument, they're playing probably like a tambourine, like a thing where you shake, it's got like little bells on it, and they're probably dancing. They're doing a dance and they're praising God. And Miriam answered them, Sing ye to the Lord, for he hath triumphed gloriously. The horse and his rider he has thrown in the sea. So Moses brought Israel from the Red Sea, and they went out into the wilderness of Shur. And they went 3 days in the wilderness and found no water. So 3 days with no water. And when they came to Marah, they could not drink the waters of Marah, for they were bitter. Therefore the name of it was called Marah. Now, for those who don't know, almost 3 years ago now, the first video I ever put out on my channel was about this passage in Exodus 15. How the murky waters of Marah represents us, our sinfulness. And when Moses casts the tree into the water, the murky, disgusting water becomes cleansed and able to drink. It becomes sweet. God takes what's bitter and makes it cleansed, or makes it sweet. God makes the bitter sweet. That was the name of the video. And people murmured against Moses, saying, What shall we drink? And he cried unto the Lord. So Moses again intercedes. He cries to the Lord. The Lord showed him a tree. Here we go. When he had cast into the waters were made sweet. So what does this tree represent? Why did God tell him to do this? Because the tree represents the cross that Jesus would be crucified on. Jesus going to the cross signifies or gives a spiritual cleansing. When you put your faith in Christ, what he did on that cross is applied to your account. So you were the dirty, murky water, the bitter water of Marah. And then when you come to the foot of the cross, you are no longer that bitter, murky water. You have now been cleansed. You have been changed. You've been made incorruptible. There he made for them a statute and an ordinance, and there he proved them, and said, If thou wilt diligently hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God, and will do that which is right in his sight, and will give ear to his commandments. See, now what commandments is he referencing here? Because the law has not been yet given. So what commandments is he talking about? So far, what God commanded them was what? In the month of Abib, I think they called it, you will have unleavened bread, and you'll remove all leaven from your house. You'll offer up a lamb, and you'll eat the entire lamb. So far, that is the commandment that God gave them, was this Passover. He hasn't given them the law yet. And there might have been another commandment or two he gave, but I can't remember. I'd have to go back. And keep his statutes, and I will put none of these diseases upon thee, which I have brought upon the Egyptians. For I am the Lord that healeth thee. Spiritual healing. And they came to Elim. Now the spiritual healing, right? So this is something that was future for them, because Christ hadn't gone to the cross yet. See, they look forward to that. We are saved by looking back, right? That's why the Old Testament talks about this place called Sheol. The Sheol was the abode of the dead. Whether you trusted God or not, everyone went to this place called Sheol. It's just there's some that were in suffering in Sheol, and there's others that were not suffering in Sheol. And so the ones that were not in the suffering in Sheol were the ones that God had saved, and he was going to lead them out of there after he went to the cross. But I'm getting ahead of myself. We'll deal with that. They came to Elim, where 12 wells of water. There were 12 wells of water, and 70 palm trees, and they encamped there by the waters. All right. Check the chat. What's going on in the chat? Hey, Victory. Aaron, I'd love to have you back on sometime soon, man. Not sure what we talk about, but yeah. Actually, you know what? I need you, man. For we gotta set these extreme free grace people straight, man. Okay, so looks like there's a side conversation. That's cool. All right, let's continue. And they took their journey from Elim, and all the congregation of the children of Israel came into the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai. So Sinai is where God's going to give the law. That's where Jesus gives Moses the law. On the 15th day of the second month, after their departing out of the land of Egypt. So they've already been in the wilderness for 2 months. The whole congregation of the children of Israel murmured against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness. And I don't know why they keep doing this. God is faithful. He proves himself faithful over and over. Every time they have a need, he comes through. He provides water. He gives them food, clothing. Why? Why do they keep murmuring against him? And the children of Israel said unto them, would to God, that's a weird way to translate. Would to God we had died in the hand of the Lord in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the flesh pots, and when we did eat bread to the full, so until we were full, so abundance of bread. We have brought us forth into this wilderness to kill the whole assembly with hunger. No, you idiots. He brought you out there because that's what God commanded him to do. God has shown himself faithful with you. Your lack of faith is really disturbing. Then said the Lord unto Moses, behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you. Look at that. They don't even have to, bake the bread. They don't have to go through the problem of making the dough and all of that. God's just straight up going to give them bread. These people, man, they just murmur and murmur, complain. And the people shall go out and gather a certain rate every day, that I may prove them whether they will walk in my law or no. See, and it's interesting that God says, walk in my law, and he hasn't given it to them yet. So they probably would have no idea. And it shall come to pass that on the 6th day, they shall prepare that which they bring in, and it shall be twice as much as they gather daily. And Moses and Aaron said to the children of Israel, at evening, then shall ye know that the Lord hath brought you out of the land of Egypt. They should already know this. It's pretty obvious. And in the morning, then ye shall see the glory of the Lord, for that he heareth your murmurings against the Lord. Right, murmuring against God. And what are we that ye murmur against us? And Moses said, this shall be when the Lord shall give you in the evening flesh to eat, and in the morning bread to the full, for that the Lord heareth your murmurings which you murmur against him. And what are we? Your murmurings are not against us, but against the Lord. So repent. And Moses spoke to Aaron, say unto the congregation of the children of Israel, come near before the Lord, for he has heard your murmurings. And it came to pass, as Aaron spake unto the whole congregation of the children of Israel, that they looked toward the wilderness, and behold, the glory of the Lord appeared in a cloud. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, I have heard the murmuring of the children of Israel. Speak unto them, saying, at evening ye shall eat flesh, and in the morning ye shall be filled with bread, and ye shall know that I am the Lord your God. And it came to pass that at the evening the quails came up and covered the camp, and in the morning dew lay around about the host. And when the dew that was gone up, behold, upon the face of the wilderness there lay a small round thing, as small as the hoarfrost on the ground. I'm not sure what that is, a hoarfrost. So this is just talking about like the frost on the ground in the morning, like in the cooler months, probably. And when the children of Israel saw it, they said to another, it is manna. For they wist not what it was. And Moses said unto them, this is the bread which the Lord hath given you to eat. This is the thing which the Lord has commanded. Gather of it every man according to his eating, in Omer for every man. And I'm pretty sure that's a metric of measurement, but I'm not sure what it amounts to. Let me see what the dictionaries say. Sheaf of grain indicates ears of grain recently cut off the stalks. Sheaf, dry measure. Okay, so just, yeah, it doesn't tell the amount. Okay, that's fine. So an omer for every man according to the number of your persons. Take ye every man for them which are in his tents. And the children of Israel did so, and gathered some more and some less. And when they did meet with an omer, he that gathered much had nothing over, and he that gathered little had no lack. They gathered every man according to his eating. And Moses said, let no man leave of it till the morning. Notwithstanding, they hearkened not unto Moses, but some of them left of it until the morning, and it bred worms, and it stank. And Moses was angry, wroth with them. And they gathered it every morning, every man according to his eating. And when the sun waxed hot, it melted. And it came to pass on the 6th day, they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers, 2 grain stalks, I guess would be the metric there, worth. For one man, and all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moses. And he said unto them, this is that which the Lord has spoke. Tomorrow is the rest of the holy Sabbath unto the Lord. Bake that which ye will bake today, and see that ye will seethe. So at some point, God must have told them to rest. Mind you, this is still before Sinai, so God must have made it clear to Moses, I want you guys to rest on a day, set a day apart where all you do is rest. As far as I can remember, Scripture doesn't tell us where God had said this to Moses, but if anyone in the side chat knows, feel free to let me know, and I'll check that out. And see that ye will seethe, and that which remaineth over lay up for you to be kept until the morning. And they laid it up till the morning, and Moses bade, and did not stink. Neither was there any worm therein. And Moses said, eat that today, for today is a Sabbath unto the Lord. Today you shall not find it in the field. 6 days you shall gather it, but on the seventh day, which is the Sabbath, in it there shall be none. So it seems like this is the point in time where God is establishing a day of rest. So Moses has to tell them, you're allowed to collect food on all the other days, but today you're not to do anything. So maybe this is the first time God's introducing this day of rest before he gives them the law. And it came to pass that there went out some of the people on the seventh day for to gather, and they found nothing. They found none. And the Lord said unto Moses, how long refuse ye to keep my commandments and my laws? See, for that the Lord hath given you the Sabbath, therefore he gives you the 6th day, the bread of 2 days. Abide ye every man in his place, let no man go out of his place on the 7th day. So the people rested on the 7th day. And the house of Israel called the name thereof manna. And it was like coriander seed, white, and the taste of it was like wafers made with honey. Interesting. And Moses says, this is the thing which the Lord commands or commandeth. Fill an omer of it to be kept for your generations, that ye may see the bread wherewith I have fed you in the wilderness, when I brought you forth from the land of Egypt. And Moses said unto Aaron, take a pot, and put an omer full of manna therein, and lay it up before the Lord to be kept for your generations. As the Lord commanded Moses, so Aaron laid it up before the testimony to be kept. And the children of Israel did eat manna 40 years until they came to a land inhabited. They did eat manna until they came to the borders of the land of Canaan. Now an omer is a 10th part of an epith, or an epath, however you want to pronounce that. Okay, interesting. I think that's referring to Genesis, Lord resting on the 7th day. Interesting. Right. All right. So we'll keep going, and then I'll open it up. If people want to come in and have conversations. All right. Exodus 17. And all the congregation of the children of Israel journeyed from the wilderness of Sin after their journeys according to the commandment of the Lord, and pitched in Rephidim, and there was no water for the people to drink. Wherefore the people did chide with Moses, and said, give us water, that we may drink. And Moses said unto them, why chide ye with me? Wherefore do ye tempt the Lord? And the people thirsted there for water. And the people, there you go again, murmured against Moses, and said, wherefore is this that thou hast brought us up out of Egypt to kill us and our children and our cattle with thirst? You know, instead of murmuring, why didn't they just go to Moses and say, Moses, would you please speak to the Lord on our behalf and ask him to give us water, please? Why didn't they have that attitude? Why is it this, oh, Moses, you led us out of Egypt to kill it? It's such a negative attitude. Ask him nicely. Can you please ask the Lord to give us something to drink? Why not just do that? Why are you so hard-hearted? After you've seen everything that God has done for you, this is the attitude you still have toward him. Now, I'm speaking to myself here, right? Because we do this too, not in the same exact way, but the Lord has saved us. He is sanctifying us. He has provided for us. I've never seen the righteous forsaken, nor their seed begging bread. David says that applies to us too. And yet we still complain and murmur to God, don't we, sometimes? So we're really not much better than the Israelites, but still, if you had a representative on earth that stood in the place between you and God, in this case it would have been Moses, why not walk up to him? You had the ability to walk up and talk to Moses. Could you please ask the Lord to give us something to drink, please? No, they didn't have that attitude about it. Wherefore is that thou hast brought us out of Egypt to kill us and our children and our cattle with thirst? Moses cried unto the Lord, saying, What shall I do unto this people? They be almost ready to stone me. Isn't that's pathetic? Absolutely pathetic. And the Lord said unto Moses, Go on before the people, and take with thee the elders of Israel, and thy rod, wherewith thou smotest the river, take in thine hand and go. Behold, I will stand before thee there upon the rock in Horeb, and thou shalt smite the rock, and there shall come water out of it, that the people may drink. And Moses did so in the sight of the elders of Israel. And he called the name of the place Matzah and Meribah. Meribah, because of the chiding of the chiding of the children of Israel, and because they tempted the Lord, saying, Is the Lord among us or not? Then came Amalek and fought with Israel and Rephidim. And Moses said to Joshua, Choose out of men. I'm sorry, guys. I'm tired. And Moses said unto Joshua, Choose us out men, and go out, fight with Amalek tomorrow. I will stand on the top of the hill with the rod of God in my hand. So Joshua did as Moses said to him, and fought with Amalek. And Moses, Aaron, and Hur went out top of the hill. And it came to pass, when Moses held up his hand, that Israel prevailed. And when he let down his hand, Amalek prevailed. So Moses was standing there, and he had to hold his hand up. And then when he set it down, the children of Israel would start losing the battle, right? They would start getting injuries, or some of them would die. So he had to quit. Oh, this was hard work for Moses. We already see a big difference between law and grace in certain aspects here, right? This is work, hard, do, right? Christ is done. Moses' hands were heavy, and they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat thereon. And Aaron and Hur stayed up his hands. So Moses was getting tired. So Aaron and his son, they would hold Moses' hands up, so Moses could take a break where he didn't have to hold him up himself. He could rest. And the one on the one side and the other on the other side. And his hands were steady until the going down of the sun. So for hours they did this. And Joshua discomfited Amalek and his people with the edge of the sword. And the Lord said to Moses, Write this for a memorial in a book, and rehearse it in the ears of Joshua, for I will utterly put out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. So now here's the thing, in this battle, it actually doesn't tell us, I don't think, that if any of the Israelites died or not. But surely, they got injured. But I don't know if they died or not. I don't think it says. Let's continue. Yeah. And Moses built an altar and called the name of it Jehovah Nissi. What does that mean? It's going to explain. For he said, because the Lord has sworn that the Lord will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. So Jehovah Nissi is victory, I think, the Lord of victory, because they won the battle. I think that's what Nissi is. It's victory. Let me double check that. Let me see. Oh, Jehovah is my banner. Yeah. The Lord is my banner or my standard. Okay. Yep, good stuff. Oh, interesting. So, Kelvin, you think his arms were held up like this, like outward, like a cross instead of straight up? Oh, okay. I never thought of that. I don't know. When I see it in my mind, I tend to think his hands were straight up, not like out like this. Yes, right, Stephanie. I've never thought of it that way either. Banner of refuge, right? Poor Moses. I know, right? He's so old. Yeah, in my opinion, yeah, that's fine. That's cool. No worries. All right. All right, we'll do one more chapter. We'll see. Yeah, I think so. We can get through 18 and then maybe open it up here. The early church taught it that way. Very interesting. I didn't know that, Kelvin. Well, you would know that more than I would because you read a lot more early church writings than I do. So that's cool. I don't think they could prove it though. It's probably just their assumption. But that's whatever. When Jethro, the priest of Midian, Moses' father-in-law, heard of all that God has done for Moses and for Israel, his people, that the Lord had brought Israel out of Egypt, then Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, took Zipporah, Moses' wife, after he had sent her back, and her 2 sons, of which the name of one was Gershom, for he said, I have been an alien in a strange land. And the name of the other was Eleazar, for the God of my father, he said, was my help, and delivered me from the sword of Pharaoh. And Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, came with his sons and his wife unto Moses into the wilderness, where he encamped at the mount of God. And he said unto Moses, I, thy father-in-law Jethro, am come unto thee, and thy wife and her 2 sons with her. And Moses went out to meet his father-in-law and did obeisance. Man, I'm so sorry, guys. I'm terrible. Yeah, obeisance. And kissed him, and they asked each other of their welfare, and they came into the tent. And Moses told his father-in-law that the Lord had done unto Pharaoh and all the Egyptians for Israel's sake, and all the travail that had come upon them by the way, and how the Lord delivered them. And Jethro rejoiced for all the goodness which the Lord has done to Israel, whom he had delivered out of the hand of the Egyptians. And Jethro said, Blessed be the Lord, who had delivered you out of the hand of the Egyptians, and out of the hand of Pharaoh, who had delivered the people from under the hand of the Egyptians. Now I know that the Lord is greater than all the gods, for in the thing wherein they dealt proudly, he was above them. And Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, took a burnt offering and sacrifices for God. And Aaron came and all the elders of Israel to eat bread with Moses' father-in-law before God. And it came to pass on the morrow that Moses sat to judge the people, and the people stood by Moses from the morning unto the evening. And when Moses' father-in-law saw all that he did to the people, he said, What is this that thou is doing to the thou dost to the people? Why sittest thou thyself alone, and all the people stand by thee from morning unto evening, or even, King James? And Moses said unto his father-in-law, Because the people come unto me to inquire of God. Right, because Moses was a type of Christ. He was the intercessor between the Father and the people. When they have a matter, they come unto me, and I judge between one and another, and I do make them know the statutes of God and his laws. And Moses' father-in-law said to him, The thing that thou dost is not good. Wow. Wow, really? Thou wilt surely wear away, both thou and this people that is with thee, for this thing is too heavy for thee. Thou art not able to perform it thyself alone. Hearken now unto my voice. I will give thee counsel, and God shall be with thee. Wow. That seems like blasphemy to me. Be thou for the people to Godward, that thou mayst bring the causes unto God. And thou shalt teach them ordinances and laws, and shalt show them the way wherein they must walk, and the work that they must do. Moreover, thou shalt provide out of all the people able men such as fear God, men of truth, hating covetousness, and place such over them to be rulers of thousands, and rulers of hundreds, and rulers of fifties, and rulers of tens. And let them judge the people at all seasons. And it shall be that every great matter that they shall bring unto thee, but every small matter they shall judge. So shall it be easier for thyself, and they shall bear the burden with thee. If thou shalt do this thing, and God command thee, then thou shalt be able to endure. And all this people shall also go to their place in peace. So Moses hearkened unto the voice of his father-in-law and did all that he had said. Why, Moses? And Moses chose able men out of all Israel and made them heads over the people, rulers of thousands, rulers of hundreds, rulers of fifties, rulers of tens. So apparently, God wasn't displeased with the conclusion they came to, but I think that could have been handled better. Telling, oh, this isn't good, and no, like Moses was doing what he's instructed to do by God. These things, these commands here didn't come from God. These came from his father-in-law, and Moses listened to his father-in-law. Not to judge Moses, but I think Moses probably should have double-checked with God first before he went ahead with this. And they judged the people at all seasons. The hard causes they brought unto Moses, but every small matter they judged themselves. And Moses let his father-in-law depart, and he went his way into his own land. Yeah. Absolutely. Oh, is Kelby doing a stream? Looks like it. All right. Well, let me get through one more chapter, and then I'll shut this down, and then everyone can go join Kelby and Paul for their live stream tonight. How about that? So let me get through another chapter here, and then we can go join them. So we'll end it with chapter 19. In the 3rd month, when the children of Israel were gone forth out of the land of Egypt, the same day they came into the wilderness of Sinai. For they were departed from Rephidim, and were come to the desert of Sinai, and had pitched in the wilderness, and there Israel camped before the mount. And Moses went up unto God, and the Lord called unto him out of the mountain, saying, Thus shalt thou say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel, Ye have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bare you on eagle's wings, and brought you unto myself. So God was able to lead them to himself. Question for the extreme free grace crowd out there: is God able to lead us to himself today? Is God just passive, where he just sits back and does nothing? Is he able to lead us? Now, therefore, if you will obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. Now, remember, there's other places where God says they break his covenant. They broke his covenant, but he still kept them as his people. That's a loving God. And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the words which thou spake unto the children of Israel. And Moses came and called for the elders of the people, and laid before their faces all these words which the Lord commanded him. And all the people answered together and said, All that the Lord has spoken, we will do. And Moses returned to the words of the people unto the Lord. And the Lord said unto Moses, Lo, I come unto thee in a thick cloud, that the people may hear when I speak with thee, and believe thee forever. And Moses told the words of the people unto the Lord. And the Lord said to Moses, Go unto the people and sanctify them today and tomorrow, and let them wash their clothing or their clothes. And be ready against the third day, for the third day of the Lord will come down in the sight of all the people upon Mount Sinai. And the Lord shall set bonds unto the people round about, saying, Take heed to yourselves, that ye go not up into the mount, nor touch the border of it. Whosoever touches the mount shall be surely put to death. Wow, it's pretty serious. There shall not an hand touch it, but he shall surely be stoned or shot through, whether it be beast or man. It shall not live. When the trumpet soundeth long, they shall come up to the mount. And Moses went down from the mount unto the people, and sanctified the people, and they washed their clothes. And he said unto the people, Be ready against the third day. Come not at your wives. And it came to pass on the third day, in the morning, that there were thunders and lightnings, and a thick cloud upon the mount, and the voice of the trumpet exceedingly loud, so that all the people that was in the camp trembled. And Moses brought forth the people out of the camp to meet with God. And they stood at the nether part of the mountain. And Mount Sinai was altogether on smoke, because the Lord descended upon it in fire. And the smoke thereof ascended as the smoke of a furnace, and the whole mount quaked greatly. So, after seeing all of this, plus the miracles, or the plagues, I should say, but which were miracles, that happened in Egypt, plus the water coming out of the rock, plus the parting of the Red Sea, plus the manna that comes down from heaven every morning, these people, how could you ever doubt the Lord again? You know? And when the voice of the trumpet sounded long and waxed louder and louder, Moses spake, and God answered him by a voice. And the Lord came down upon Mount Sinai, on top of the mount, and the Lord called Moses up to the top of the mountain, and Moses went up. And the Lord said unto Moses, Go down, charge the people, lest they lest they break through unto the Lord to gaze, and many of them perish. And let the priests also, which come near to the Lord, sanctify themselves, lest the Lord break forth upon them. And Moses said unto the Lord, The people cannot come to Mount Sinai, for thou chargest us, saying, Set bonds about the mount, and sanctify it. And the Lord said to him, Away, get thee down, and thou shalt come up, thou and Aaron with thee, but let not the priests and the people break through to come up to unto the Lord, lest he break forth upon them. So Moses went down unto the people and spoke to them. So no one was allowed to touch the mountain except Moses. No one was allowed to climb up the mountain except Moses until after the loud trumpet blast had finished. Even animal, if any animal were to climb up or touch the mountain, that animal was to be put to death. Yeah. And we'll pick up next time at Exodus 20. All right, guys. So it looks like Kelvy is starting a live stream. Let me grab the link for that. Did he start yet? Yeah, he's already started it. All right. So let's, everyone that's here, I appreciate you. Everyone, go over to Kelvy, give him some love and some support, and tell him Kevin sent you over there. There's the link. I just posted it. But God bless you all. Thank you for tuning in tonight. That's going to be the end of the stream for tonight. Go show Kelvy some love. And I'll catch you on the next one. God bless.